All right, we're just gonna go for it. Right, Teddy? Let's do it. Today, we are going to strengthen that rhythm a little bit and go into a little bit of actual music theory. I got it all written out here. What we're gonna do is we're going to just get that rhythm really down, get a feel for the different notation from everything from, we're gonna go from quarter notes to 16th notes. And we're gonna go nice and slow, but we're gonna get the feel for this. And the goal at the end of this is to, if you're looking for back and forth plucking style, if that's the type of play that you're looking for, this is hopefully gonna build towards that. Now, if you have a harp that is not good for outward plucking and is only inward plucking, or even sometimes this spike I just made is actually better for outward only. Just the nature of the reed, for me, it feels better only outwards. But there's no reason why we can't do these rhythms in one direction only. It's just a lot of the times you can't quite get the speed without being able to do the double stroke, because it's efficiency of your motion here. On your strike out, you're going to pluck back in. So obviously you can only get back and forth so quickly, and if you're not plucking on the inward stroke to return to that position, it's a note that you just can't simply hit. So not a big deal. There's other ways around it. In the last video, I talked about you can use the articulations of your breathing or your tongue in order to fill in those rhythms. So this lesson is going to focus more on in and outward play. And I'm going to use a brand new spike that I just finished yesterday. I just made this. It's a very stable player. It's probably the most stable spike I've made yet. But it is still a delicate, small, gentle harp, and you can't go crazy on it. So it's going to be perfect for this lesson. We're going to go at about 80 beats per minute, and I'm just going to walk you through these rhythms, and then we'll get into some little bonus material, making some sounds, I think, like that. Again, Soundbrenner is the app I use. I use an iPhone. I'm sure there's a version of it for Android and all those other ones, but we're going to start off nice and slow. This time it's going to actually be slow enough for 80 beats per minute. And that's going to sound like this in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. Ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. So if you just practice that for a little bit, you get the feel for it. This is something that you should always do if you're trying to learn and master a rhythm. If you try to go too fast, your muscle memory just isn't there for you to be able to do it subconsciously at those speeds. You need to be able to put the brain power into learning the muscle memory and the timing for these, and then it becomes second nature to you, and then you can speed it up. So hopefully you can see that. Let's just try this again. We're gonna go ta, ti, ti, ta, ta. And I'm using drum notation here this is how I learned to count playing drums. What we have is we've got each note, each beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's 4/4 time. When we get to this TT, the counting is 1, 2, and 3. So if you break, there's gonna be an and between every single note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's math, unfortunately. You chop it into as many slices as you want. That's why they're called quarter and eighth notes. If it's a quarter note, there's only 4 of them. It takes up 1/4 of the bar. If you've got eighth notes, you can imagine that you would have, if this was also a TT, 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 you would have 8 of them. They become eighth notes. When we get down here, that's 16th. This is going to be the fun part down here. So let's just practice. And we'll start to bring in our double stroke. Again, 80 beats per minute. So there are different ways that I was actually making these same notes, different plucking patterns. I'm not sure if you saw that, but one of them was a constant back and forth. And every note that I did was either going to be in the forward direction or back. Another way I was doing it was each beat, I was forward plucking. Here's what I mean. So that's back and forth. And that's back and forth only on the TT. And there's another way you could do it, is if you go I would recommend being consistent. I think I use a kind of a combination of both. But I would, if it's easier for you, and it probably is, one direction for each beat. Each quarter beat is probably going to be your easiest way to do it. So we'll just practice again. Okay. Now, I've got a little bit more mumbo jumbo down here when we get to the 16th notes. We've got our 1, 2, and then we've got some E's in here. So this is how we count in drumming notation. 3 E and even though that's another E, it's a and So ta, ti, ti, ticka, ticka. Well, I always learned 16th notes as ticka, ticka. So ta, ti, ti, ticka, 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 ticka. That's how that's going to go. 1, 2, and 3 E and 1, 2, and 3 E and 4 E and It's kind of it sounds a little convoluted at first, but it's really not that bad. Let's just practice what that sounds like. It'd be nice if I did it in time, wouldn't it? I don't think I really need to beat that horse anymore. Practice that. Try to do it in time. Even, look at this. Look at this is my room here. These are my drums. I've got all these drums, and I can't even keep a simple rhythm like that with a metronome. So practice. You just have to practice. Go slow and just get the feel for it. And if you want to isolate just the one note to practice at a time, do it. Now, as I was counting, you probably heard on the TTs I was making it was a bit of a higher tone that I was getting, and that was just helping me count. All I was doing in there is I was elevating my tongue inside my mouth, and what that does is it actually decreases the size of the acoustic chamber of your mouth. And what that ends up doing is it raises the tone. Now, these are considered, I can't remember the actual technical term for it, but these are overtone instruments. They all have a fundamental note. This one is tuned to F2, but all the harmonics are involved with this. So you can actually isolate these harmonics by changing the size of your mouth in there. and it isolates some of the higher harmonics, which gives the higher tones. So I was pressing my tongue kind of up towards the top of my mouth, the roof of my mouth, and that was allowing me to get a bit of a higher pitch. And it just helped me with the counting a little bit. I knew that I was going to go, even as you're saying it, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, you kind of accentuate up a little bit. So. That's just, by moving your tongue around, that's where you get the different pitch changes and stuff like that. So that's kind of one of our bonus lessons here, I guess. Use your tongue to move the pitch around. And it's actually a very similar motion with your tongue as to whistling. When you're whistling, you're changing the size of your orifice with your lips, but your tongue's actually involved in there too. And your tongue you're raising it up to the roof of your mouth to try and change the pitch a little bit, as well as a bit of that modulation. So that flickering of your tongue use that to change the sounds in your mouth. I don't really know what else to do in this lesson. Let's leave it at that. Adios.